Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of
Sounded it?
It Out. Ooh, did we both shimmy into that one?
We did. It's funny. My mom was trying to shimmy today, and she couldn't. She's like,
So that's interesting. I don't picture Lucy as someone that will shimmy often.
no, no. No. God bless.
She's pretty serious all the time, yeah?
She is. I mean, she has like a really great sense of humor, but it's like it'll get you. She can be silly and bubbly. She's all right.
You know what? She's tough for me because I can tell that like she sees right past the cute. Like I can't be cute with her and she'll like giggle or laugh. She's just like, "Oh my God." Like
Yes. She does that with me too. Like sometimes I'm like you're like all psyched and like whatever and like in a good mood and you want to be silly and playful and she'll just be like, "What do you want?" Like,
yeah.
or are you done? That's her favorite. Like, "Are you done? Can we be
Ooh,
done?"
that's harsh. That's
God
harsh.
bless. Yeah.
Speaking of are we done, we chatted too much last time, so we need to get
We're gonna get right to it. That was a bad snap. We're gonna get right to it. So catch up.
Let's do a little catch up. Yeah.
Well, I'll go first. Oh,
great.
Sorry, go ahead.
Perfect.
I was just gonna say because mine is 0. I have nothing. I've been embracing rest. I've been sleeping. I've been vegging out. I've been like broccoli, laying like lettuce.
Oh wow.
Pretty Woman, if anybody remembers.
Okay.
Especially with the heat. Like it was like 200 degrees or something.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday. So yeah.
How high did you guys get in New York?
I didn't really pick up my. I didn't pick up my phone.
Good for you. Good for you. Oh,
but it was definitely like in the hundreds. Like
yeah.
And then it was oppressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. And now it's like cold. I went out today for a walk finally, and it was freezing. So it's great. But yeah, that's my catch up.
Well, I mean, in transparency, we did just record 6 days ago. So again, we're not trying to be, pretend that we're a podcast that we're not, that, relies on their sponsors and needs to stick to a certain schedule. And, we've got people just like railing us in the comments for not being consistent. Like no one cares. So let's enjoy this moment.
Yes. It's working.
Yeah, my big update is my mic works.
I'm so excited. Yeah, when I saw that little blip and I'm like, I still have it open and I'm like looking at it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's blippy blips.
Yeah. It's blipping. My mic works. My daughter, my 2-year-old had hand, foot, mouth, and we all survived it. It was a very mild case. And we got new backsplash in our kitchen. Those are my big.
I'm so excited to see that.
My big updates. Yes, I used peel and stick backsplash. That's been there for about a year. And when I point it out to people and they say, "Oh my God, I didn't even notice that was peel and stick," in my brain, I question their authenticity because it literally is peeling in places.
But it's so like bad. Nobody's looking at the places that it's peeling in because you look at the other parts and you're like, "Oh, it looks great."
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because a lot of people have come into my kitchen and said, I didn't notice it. And they were people that I really thought were good character, like you. And so I've actually had some deep thought where I've said, this is kind of like people aren't really looking that closely. It's like when you're freaking out about what to wear and nobody really notices. No one really notices. They're all in their own heads. Yeah. They're all thinking about 10 other things. And so, I guess the closure on that situation is everybody was telling the truth. They just didn't notice.
Yeah. I didn't notice.
But I noticed. And now
that's honestly, in the end, that's what counts. That's what matters.
Now it's permanent. But yeah, that's the catch up. Also, 100 degrees here in DC. the kids were stuck inside, and that was sad and depressing. I mean, even if you got outside at 7 a.m., it was too late. It
It
was
was
too
too
hot.
hot. Yeah. It was like
Yeah.
87 degrees at 8 a.m.
I bought
My
so many toys, so many dumb plastic toys on Amazon just to try to keep them stimulated. Like we have our entire downstairs, not the playroom area, but like the family living room area is covered in racetracks,
God.
zooming up and down and around. I went to go to the bathroom in our living area and tripped over an entire basket of Matchbox cars. I mean, there people are just doing what they need to do to stay
Yeah.
safe.
God bless. Yeah. Oh
And
my
if
God.
that means playing with your race cars in the toilet, then you know what? You do what you
There
need
you
to do.
go. Do you, boo? I
Wait,
love
that's a
that.
good point. I didn't even think to look in the toilet. I'm sure the cars didn't just go in the bathroom and sit there. I'm sure somebody. Oh, damn. Well,
God bless. Well,
we'll circle back on that.
because we'll want an update.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move right along.
Let's keep
Things
it
you're loving right
moving. Things
now.
I'm loving right now.
Oh,
Okay.
I just had the one. I was just gonna shout out our platform, Riverside.
Hmm.
It's such an amazing, and like I think because you and I have been looking at the magic clip, so Riverside is how we produce the podcast, and how we're currently recording, and it enables us to publish the pod. It's really easy and straightforward to how to use, and it has like these great AI, um, what do I want to say, like features
Mm-hmm.
that we can generate little clips from the show. We can create like it pulls images. I love that every time it does pull an image, it's just of you. It's, have you seen that? No. It's
No.
literally just always Cailin. It's
Oh, wow.
never me. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I'm really excited now that I'm off and I have time to explore what else we can do and, you know, do with the pod and Riverside. So that's what I'm loving.
I like that. Yeah, I think I have two things I'm loving. First is I was going to mention this last episode and then I was talking too much. It's our podcast. And I
Um,
wanted I wanted to also just bring up the reason we're doing this podcast. I think we posted about it on Instagram, but we didn't really talk about it here. The reason we wanted to make this podcast was not because we were looking to have an online presence or build a following, but because
no.
both want to push ourselves to keep learning and stay present in the news and in, I mean, anything new and interesting and innovative, anything political, you name it, in the realm of education. And we were both finding that it was very difficult to do that. And we didn't have the self discipline to do it consistently. So we needed to just blow it up and do something real dramatic and create a podcast so that we were held accountable to completing our research and then presenting it here. And I feel like it's been working. I feel like a major itch has been scratched for me, and I feel like a better mom, a better wife, a better teacher because I don't carry around this guilt of I'm not doing enough and I should be learning more. I feel like I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I, on the other hand, I've loved doing it. It has been a source of a little bit of stress for me because speaking, like I can speak my mind if I'm sitting with a friend, if I'm sitting in a restaurant, if I'm enjoying a beverage, right? If I'm out and about, if I'm in, you know, with my colleagues or whatever scenario, I feel like that's not this. But this is definitely out of my comfort zone. And I feel like it's in the sense that I have to now learn how to speak. I have to learn how to speak. I have to learn how to say my ideas concisely and with I don't know, just greater, like right now, like I'm stumbling over what I want to say, but it's difficult. But I love writing. I consider myself um a writer in a sense, and I really have loved kind of the prep process because I
Mhm.
can translate my strength, which is the writing and the prep and the research, to building out my spoken ideas. And that's been,
Mhm.
I think, what made our last episode really good was that I had really prepared myself, like literally writing everything out, and I feel like that's been the real kind of, yeah, the culmination of this amazing idea. And I love talking to you, and I feel like we have
Thanks.
great conversations,
You do.
whether silly or serious, or especially when they're education related. And I feel like that's also, like, that was a huge part of us putting this together, is because we'd have these amazing conversations, whether over the phone or in person, about themes and ideas in education, and it just made sense to do this. So.
I agree. I think our conversation flows so easily. And I was actually just thinking about this the other day because I called a friend that I haven't talked to in a while because I'm forever trying to get better at doing that. And I think I'll just spend the rest of my life trying because it's hard. But I had 10 minutes in the car by myself. And so I reach out to this friend and I have no idea what I'm calling for. And that gives me so much anxiety. I'm just calling. And the conversation just didn't pick up. Like it was 5 minutes into it and I was still like, and I ended up panicking and pulling out this like random piece of gossip from my college days. Like telling this like, terrible story of when I got in really big trouble in college and like I don't know. And then after it was over, it was still awkward. I was like, I'm not calling back unless I have something relevant and like I know what I'm talking about because all of my fear came to fruition. The fear of calling with no reason and it being awkward. It was awkward.
It was odd. Well, I mean, some of us embrace the awkwardness. Like, I feel like I am just awkward all the time.
Yeah. I
And
mean, you
yeah,
also don't hold anything back, which is a blessing and a curse.
it is. Tell me about it. It's like my hair. No, just kidding. I am just staring at it again because I can't. This summer, shall we
Let's
press ahead?
let, let's get into the episode.
This episode is a continuation of our What is the Science of Reading episode, and we wanted to continue our dive with our beloved Cailin, who is going to continue to walk us through some of these enormous concepts. I started out our last episode by giving you a definition of what the science of reading is, and I'm just going to repeat it. A vast interdisciplinary collection of scientifically based research and evidence about the how and why of reading, as well as issues related to reading and writing. And yeah, Cailin, if you want to just dive back into some of those amazing points that you made.
I think quick highlights of points from the last episode of what is the science of reading in terms of the form, because today we'll dive more into the function piece, but quick points to remember. Science of reading is not a book, it's not a curriculum, it's 7 decades of research, and it's all about the idea that we've used spoken language for a million years, but we've only used written language for a couple thousand years. So that's just highlighting the idea that we need to explicitly be taught how to read, and remembering that we are not wired for written code, right? Written code is a cultural invention. We don't have a system in our brain to turn letters into sounds. We have to create that system in our brain. And I think a few other important points. We have different areas in our brain. One area is the spoken language region that deals with sound and meaning. Another area is the vision area where we recognize objects and faces. We do not have an area there that recognizes words. That's something we need to learn. And there's no connection between the vision area of the brain and the sound meaning area of our brain. We need to create those connections through explicit teaching and learning. We also, I think, when children are having difficulty learning to read, we should not immediately jump to the assumption that they have any kind of neural diversity. We first also need to remember that overlying feature over all of these areas of our brain is executive functioning skills, anxiety, trauma, feeling of safety or feeling unsafe. So remembering to take all of these things into account when thinking about a reader and their journey of learning to read. And the final important point was, I think, how do we connect the sound area of our brain with the vision area of our brain? And that is the development of sound sensitivities, which in the world of teaching reading, we know as phonemic awareness. So the ability to play with the tiniest little sounds and words, not syllables, smaller than syllables, the tiniest parts of words. And that is a huge indicator for learning how to read. Like, for example, segmenting a word, taking the word bat and saying bat, having 3 phonemes. And then we ended the last session the last episode by noting some misconceptions. And the first one we noted was that reversals could be an indicator of a learning difference, which is not true. Our brain, we use the example of a chair. Our brain sees a chair facing one way, facing the other way, and it's still a chair. So if the letter B is facing one way and then it's facing the other way, it's still B. It's not D. That's something we have to learn, and our brain needs time to process.
Right.
So just because a child is reversing their letters, it doesn't mean they're dyslexic. It just means that they are in the process of unlearning the way they visualize objects, to be able to learn written code. Okay, so there was a major misconception in the days of whole language where people believe that we memorize words to learn to read them. That is not true. We map out words sound by sound. Current brain research tells us that in early reading, the teacher's role is to focus on helping readers to work out parts of words or letters and how they're connected to sounds in a systematic set of associations. So we're talking in a sequence, starting with early concepts like consonants and vowels, closed syllables, open syllables, some very early identifiers of sounds, like what's the beginning sound in cat, what's the ending sound in cat, and so on. When children are taught to memorize whole parts of words, they're igniting a completely different hemisphere of the brain, the right hemisphere, which is actually less efficient for reading. So these are some of the interesting pieces of research that come out from brain scans and brain research of what a reading brain and a non-reading brain looks like. Now, when you're focusing on individual letters and their sounds, teaching and learning takes a little bit longer, but it's ultimately much deeper, and it mirrors what brain research shows that expert readers do. Another misconception is that phonics is not about meaning, and that teaching phonics and learning phonics takes away from meaning and does not provide joy in learning. So I'm sure you can speak to this, Shanida.
Just going to
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, when I saw this one in particular. I feel like this is something that has also kind of influenced what we've talked about before, is like this idea that like phonics doesn't have a place, or like phonics isn't really useful because it doesn't like elicit joy, or there isn't, it's not as fun as like setting up the book nook and like doing all of that stuff. It's very performative and like rigorous, and right, but it's actually not, and you can find really amazing fun ways, which I love that you're going to talk about this now, to teach phonics, and that it has meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, this piece, it hits a chord for me. It strikes a chord for me because I was very much I was obsessed with educators. My mentors that were educators when I started teaching were all very outside of the box, progressive
Mm.
types of teachers. And when I look back now, it was more whole language than balanced literacy. Also, a lot of the schools that I was very drawn to, not negative, but I wish they had more balance. They were very heavy on student led learning, and student led learning did not look like what phonics instruction tends to look like, which
Mm.
there is going to be a worksheet involved. There is going to be repetition of like a teacher showing a letter or an image and a child repeating it. There is going to be this, what looks like traditional, boring skill and drill. And so I always was scared and veered away and like put my nose in a lot of instruction looks like.
Yeah, when I started out too, I feel like I was it concerned me, because I was like, is this really good or helpful or whatever? Or shouldn't we being more progressive and open-minded and whatever? And open-minded and to different strategies or ways of teaching reading. But the further I got into education, and I started late, like I education is my second career, so I did this coming in, I didn't have like the 20, 10 years of like having been in a classroom to see this work. But I remember, and it was when we were working together, and I started teaching with this other teacher who brought in this program. And I was like, this is so prescriptive. There's like a script, and there's this specific way that you have to do this. I actually started to really love it, because I was like, wow, I'm seeing that everything that I'm doing, has meaning in the educational sense, like in the developmentally right appropriate sense for their learning, but it also just made sense, like, oh, they're now learning how this vowel sound can change, or if this is added, they're now getting the tools that they need to do all of these other things that we've been teaching. Does that make, it was like putting the rungs of the ladder in the ladder. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does. And, we obviously will not name names, but there was somebody that we both worked with that I remember them. I really idolized them.
Yeah,
And
same.
I wondered why we didn't have a scope and sequence for teaching early phonics. And their response was something along the lines of, you want your children in your classroom to ask to discover a letter sound. And I was like, wow, actually, no, I loved it. I was eating it up. I was like, wow, that is beautiful. That is incredible. Yes, they're going to sniff out one day.
Magic-y.
I need to learn what Magic-y is doing,
Yes.
And sure, like, what, a little bit of that can happen. What I just can't get over it. And I've been to so many schools in so many areas, and I still have yet to see a really good balance of both. So in my research, I came across, oh, we have a special guest.
Oh my gosh. Who is it?
Hi, do you want to be on the podcast? Do you want to talk in the microphone? No, he doesn't.
Hey,
Okay, so
no.
let's keep going. um, the idea of balance, right? So I really was I really did believe that the skill and drill, some curriculum like foundations was a lot of like teacher, asking kids to repeat something for going on for 15 minutes. And I thought, ugh, like, no, this is boring. The kids are bored. But, you know, I read somewhere phonics is a tool in a much bigger picture. And in terms of joy and motivation of children when they're learning these specific phonics rules, the work of decoding is a critical skill to building and understanding, and that's necessary for reading. And so it goes hand in hand with a child's confidence learning these skills. And children are excited, even if it seems rote to us, right? So like we take ourselves out of it and remember that it might seem simple and repetitive and rote, but actually children feel good and they're happy when they're learning the skills they need to be successful.
Exactly.
Right? And there's a belief that good skills in reading are what lead to long-term motivation, and not the opposite, that long-term motivation leads to good skills.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part too. Another important part to debunk this myth, that phonics takes away from meaning and doesn't provide joy in learning. Phonics addresses the word level reading, right? So now a child can accurately read a word. But you also need a curriculum in place with vocabulary and knowledge explicitly to bring meaning to those words, right? You're not just going to skill and drill. It's going to be just a small piece of the bigger puzzle. You still need to give children context of the world around them and build their vocabulary and make those connections to create meaning. So just give it a place in your day.
Yeah. I actually loved this because when I read it, and I'm going to try to get my point across concisely, but this reminded me of
Close my door.
how
Close my door.
he came up in the picture. Oh my God. I just love him so much. So this made me think of bits from our morphology training about the importance of decoding and phonics in reading comprehension. So they have this simple view of reading, and I might try to throw it up in some way.
Just pretend you don't see him.
No, hi. Okay. Sorry, I can't. Okay.
Just a little bit.
Such a sweetie. Hey, Rye. Love you. Okay. Rye, this is for you. So, in the morphology training, they presented this really great graphic. And for those of you who are listening, imagine it's like a multiplication equation. They have that there are two domains. You have decoding times language comprehension equals reading comprehension. So decoding is where we're able to take words apart, right? You're able to read words. So word recognition and then understanding the language of that together will give you reading comprehension. But the reason why they have it as a multiplication table is because think of it this way. If one of those factors in a multiplication table is 0, your answer is always going to be 0. So if you don't have decoding, if you don't have, I know this like blew my mind. If you don't have decoding, but you do have language comprehension, you won't have reading comprehension because 0 times 1 equals 0. If you have decoding, but you don't have language comprehension, think of vocabulary, like a broad vocabulary, you're not going to have reading comprehension. So you need to have both. Even if, and I came up with this on my own, so I'm really proud of this thought. Even if you have 0.025 times 0.025, you're going to come away with some kind of comprehension. There is going to be something. So even if you have a small amount of it, there's still going to be, and you can build on that. So that was that part. But, and I had like a bunch of other little stats, My notes for this is crazy, and I apologize to everyone. So here, I hear two stats. This one's for Rye. Hey, Rye. What you doing? Okay, sorry. I won't direct my anything to you. That first grade oral vocabulary tends to predict 11th grade reading comprehension, and this is from this book, the vocabulary handbook. Then this is the one that really got me. Right, this is gonna blow your mind. From about third grade on, 95% of students can read more words than they can understand. So they'll have this decoding, but they won't necessarily have the language comprehension to help with the reading comprehension. So that's where it comes back to this idea where you were talking about before of building vocabulary as well on top of the decoding and being able to read words, but it's understanding what those words mean.
Yeah. Let's get into the strategies.
Yes.
And, I made a note in my notes, small but mighty, because I don't know if this rings true for anybody else, but I know, again, from being in these progressive schools with incredible ideas, a huge focus on learning through doing and creating these inquiries for children to really get lost in, and preparing field trips for them to learn through their environment. I mean, just like really big ideas. When it came time to prepare my phonics lessons, and I'm seeing these lessons that are like switch a letter tile with another letter tile, I'm so blown up with these units of inquiry and discovery that when I see these tiny little activities, I'm thinking it's not enough. And it's just, it was such a big mistake that I wish I could undo. These small but mighty strategies, I was thinking too much about my own needs as a teacher and my wanting to do these big, grandiose explorations that I missed a lot of these small opportunities that would have mighty impacts on the children's brains that I was working with. So with that said, these are small but mighty. Letter tiles, right? So literal tiles with letters on them, or flashcards with letters on them. We're using letters on cards or tiles instead of the whole word being just one visual object, and then just taking away one tile or one card at a time and asking the child, what would happen to the word if I did this? Then swap a tile and ask again. This is guiding their selective attention, and it's providing support on pronunciation, especially open and closed syllables. Oh, I did tell Shanida about the new kitchen. Did you tell her what color it is?
White.
And what do you think about it? Okay, if you think of something, if you want to say something, just raise your hand. But if you don't want to say anything,
Give a thumb.
Yeah, just give a thumb up if you want to say something. But I want to get back to these letter tiles. So it's guiding selective attention, really keying into, like I said, these tiny little parts of words, phonemic awareness. And in application, if a child, is doing this over time, if we see them one day looking at a word and saying, oh, I know that blend, or I know that digraph, or in older years morphology, I know that suffix. This is strengthening their accuracy, which will then, like you said, lead to strengthening their comprehension. So small but effing mighty, right?
Yeah.
And there is research that says that the quality of your word recognition is exactly what you said, a determiner of how well you can comprehend passages in upper grades. We've got a thumb up. Yes, Rye.
Yes, Rye.
Say it into the microphone. This is Rye's new, what is this thing called again?
The shark car monster truck.
A shark car monster truck. And what does it do? What does it belong to?
monster truck. Monster truck.
Oh yeah, remember all the plastic toys I was referencing earlier? This belongs to a giant monster truck car wash taking up half of the stairs that we love. Yeah. So if anyone has any dirty monster trucks, send them our way.
But we don't have any of some monster trucks with.
Oh, okay. We'll put in the notes, we're going to put specific measurements for the monster trucks because you can't just any monster truck. That's a good point. Okay. Another small but mighty strategy. And I like these strategies because they're great for the classroom. They're great for at home as well. I hear with my little ear. So instead of I spy with my little eye, you're saying I hear with my little ear something that begins with, and you're saying a sound. So we're calling attention with sounds. We can do this in the car, looking outside, at home, whatever. Turtle talk is another good activity. You say the word super slow, and then the child has to say it faster. So, for example, what word am I thinking of? What's the word? Book. Great. Nice.
Yay.
And then alliterations. Alliterations, this was another exercise that I really took for granted and thought was too simple and didn't do anything, but keying into those first initial sounds of a word. It falls under the umbrella of phonological awareness, bringing awareness to sounds, phonemic awareness. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Elephants eat eggs. I think it's best to do this with a book. There's lots of books, picture books that are written in alliteration. Also, another small but mighty idea, picture mnemonics to build alphabetic language. So you know how we always have the pictures on the letter sound cards?
Yes. Oh my God, best episode ever.
This is another thing that I was like, whatever, like let's give. I didn't have time to put a picture on the letter card. It's fine, let's keep it moving. There's brain research that shows that a child will learn a letter sound faster when they can pair it with a picture. Like these are all things that are proven for a reason, and we really need to lean into because they're powerful. Also integrating handwriting instruction into reading, right? So when you're learning that B says buh, and you're pairing that with a picture of a bat, and you're learning how to write the letter B at the same time, we're now intertwining all of these. You could talk about bats. You could learn more about bats. Let's get some fancy words for like, what's the mammal? What is a bat actually called? Doesn't it have a fancy name? Is a bat a mammal? You know about bats. They're only called bats. All right. Is the microphone picking up what he's saying? Because he's got
Yes, it is. It is. It's amazing.
Good. Decodable books. Holy moly, decodable books. I mean, how many years did we teach without focusing on it? We were just leveling books. And what were we leveling them based off of? What?
And what I love is that schools are now moving away from that more and more often. They're moving away from certain level books that are just having kids read. They're not decodable, and using programs like Acadience. We're actually doing a training over the summer to start using Acadience to do our reading assessments, and I'm super excited.
Oh my gosh. Wait, this has not come across my desk. Acadience.
Let me see if I can find. Yes, I have the book right here. Acadience Learning. Apologies. Acadience Learning. And I haven't like jumped into it, but there's their benchmark assessments, and you can use it on an iPad as well. So it's a lot of what we just talked about. So listen to me say this word, man. The first sound that you hear in the word is Listen, man, what is the first sound you hear? So yeah. Even though I don't know if this may. Oh, yes. So then, right. So that's kind of like the teaching part, or the kind of instructing how I'm going to ask you questions about these words. And then the practice item 2 would be, listen to me say another word. Moon. Rye, what's the first sound you hear in the word? Excellent. You're.
You're
But it's really great. So then it has like going into our sound fluency. But this is, of course, kindergarten. I think I have. Yeah, I have a first grade assessment book. But you want me to do? Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Right. Let's do from the first grade assessment. Let's see. Ooh. All right, Rye. You don't have to move it. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, Rye. Listen to me say the word fan. Fan. What's the first sound you? So good.
That's right. Good
What
job.
if I said soap? What's the first sound you hear?
Shout out to Peabody Elementary School, Washington, D.C.
Right, here's like a little bit of a challenge. If I say soap again, what's the last sound you hear? Soap. Dun, 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 dun. Woo, 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 woo. Right.
Great. Take the summer off. Take the rest of the summer off, Ryan. You've earned that.
You are so ready.
Great.
What grade are you going into?
Pre-K 4.
Pre-K 4 grade.
Pre-K 4. Oh my God. I remember when you were like this tiny little.
And I'm already 4.5.
So old. Yeah, Shanida came over and held you when you were a tiny little baby, like the size of that water bottle.
Yeah, I was crying a lot. I was.
That's a wrap.
Is that it? That is it, right?
That's all I have. I mean, you know, it's just talking about this is so interesting. Our plan for the next episode is to, and I'm going to, this is where my research needs to begin again. A lot of what I've been talking about are ideas that I've been researching for a few years now. And what I'd like to challenge myself to learn more about next, and we will talk about in our next episode, is looking at popular curriculums that schools are using now that the science of reading movement is in full swing, and looking to see, like, I mean, how could you not, as a company, slap science of reading on your products because everyone's talking about it and you're going to get canceled if you don't? And how do we differentiate programs that are really doing what they need to be doing? What are we looking for? Who has a good reputation right now? I really want to learn more about that, because again, what I would love to see is this balanced literacy that I want to look for. It's having the explicit teaching of phonics, but also don't lose the other stuff that you love too. Learn about maths while you're learning the little basics. I mean,
This has been this is episode 5. This is the best way to christen episode 5.
thanks for being our guest on the episode.
Yeah.
Do we have your permission to keep you in the episode?
Yeah. Special guest.
Are you okay with us using your voice? Okay. All right. Cool.
Thanks so much. Yeah, this was amazing. I'm so glad that we did this so quickly. I mean, from after the episode 4, this is great. Yeah. All right. So I guess that's
it. And thank you for joining us for another episode of
Sound It Out.
Right. Can you say Sound It Out?
Sound it out.
Join us for another episode of Sound It Out. Beginning of the next month.
Yeah. Yay. Oh, and you can find us on Instagram and on our website. So go there. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Sound It Out podcast.
Episode 5, The Science of Reading, Part 2, August 2025, with your hosts,
Cailin Kiefaber
and Shanida G. Gutierrez, with special guest, Rye Kiefaber. Produced by
Cailin Kiefaber,
and Shanida G. Gutierrez.
editor
Shanida G. Gutierrez. Music by Shanida G. Gutierrez.
graphic design
Marie at MRKTTNR at Fiverr.
Special thanks
Rye Kiefaber. And thanks to you for listening to the Sound It Out podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at the Sound It Out podcast.
Or on our website at thesounditoutpodcast.com. It's perfect. No, it was great. Okay, this was amazing.
Oh, here comes another one. Hold on. We have another one.
Hi.
Yes.
Hey, fashion. Look at that shirt. You're right, Ladybug.
When I was a toddler, I used to wear that shirt.
Yeah.
Hi, Shanida. Say hello. Did you just wake up? Did you have a good nap? Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. You don't have to whisper. You can tell Shanida.
Yeah, you could tell me. I want to know. I love a nap.
What are you going to do next?
I woke up.
You woke up. You're awake.
I'm staying.
Now you're going to go play. You're going to go outside. Yeah.
I'm going to stay inside.
You're going to stay inside? You haven't been
Same.
outside in so many days. Let's see what the weather looks like.
We're done. Done.
Okay. Yeah.
Cut out my boys.
She's not cutting out your
Not.
voice. Unless you want her to. Do you want to be in the episode or do you want us to cut you out? He wants to be in it. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I want you to. Right.
Right.
I also might. Can he say the name of the podcast completely? The Sound It Out podcast.
Can you say the Sound It Out podcast?
The Sound It Out podcast.
Perfect. Perfect. Cut. It's done.
That's it. Do you want to say Sound It Out?
No.
Okay.
Well, can you say bye? Can you just say bye? Bye. Okay, love you.
Love you. Bye. And don't forget to tune in.
And sound it out.
The Sound It Out